you need to be a better painter to build a multi-seven-figure painting business. Guess what? That is not true. Have you ever heard, said, or thought that the customer is always right? Guess what? They're not always right. If you're involved in every activity and you want to be the master of every activity in business, go work for someone else. The biggest myth that gets perpetuated to painting business owners is that, hey guys, welcome to the Painter's Circle, where we help painting business owners scale their operations, increase profitability, and gain more time freedom. I'm Tas Moulis, and in this podcast, I'll share actionable tips, expert strategies, and real-world insights that'll help you grow your painting business without burning you out. Ready to take your painting business to the next level? Let's go. Oh yeah! Hey guys, guess what we're doing today? I'm going to share with you some myths that are probably stopping you or holding you back from building a multi-seven-figure painting business. Myth number one, you have to do everything yourself and no one can do it better than you. I can tell you this, not only is this myth number one, this is probably your biggest roadblock. Because if you're going to want to grow a business, now for me, the definition of a business is a commercial enterprise that works without you. Key point, works without you. If you're involved in every activity and you want to be the master of every activity in business, go work for someone else. Otherwise, this is going to be a really terrible hobby. So the myth that you need to do everything yourself is really going to hold you back. This is why. You have X amount of hours in your day and week. Let's say you're at 8 hours, but you're a business owner, you're going, you know what, Tas, who works 8 hours? You're working 10 hours, maybe 12 hours per day. So somewhere between 40 and 60 hours per week. And in a typical business, it's broken up into 3 core functions. You have input, which is marketing and sales. You have throughput, which is your scheduling and delivery. So the actual painting work that you do. And the third component is business management. Everything to do with business administration, tracking the numbers, zero invoicing, sending quotes, communicating, all the stuff that holds the business together. I've only mentioned 3 core components, and each one of those components has a ton of tasks. If you want to be doing all of those tasks, how can you be doing an effective job at winning profitable work if you're stuck on the tools all day long? Worse still, what if you're stuck behind a desk doing reconciliations of your Xero account and checking emails? Now, the last time I checked, actually, not the last time I checked, having talked to hundreds and hundreds of painting business owners, I've yet to find anyone that goes, you know what, Tas, I got into business because I want to do admin. I really love reading emails, answering phone calls, reconciling accounts. That's my passion in life. I want to do that. Said no painter ever. Where you probably fall into is in the middle part in throughput, because you got into this business because you were a painter or you're really good at this thing called painting. So you want to become a better painter. That's holding you back too. So you're neglecting output, which is data management, invoicing, reconciliations, and all the administration tasks, so you can focus on the scheduling and the painting. But then who's doing the sales? So the biggest myth that you can do all things in your business, you cannot grow a multi-seven-figure business. It's great up to about 600 to 800K because you're juggling the 17 balls in the air and what you're dropping isn't breaking the bank. But once you crack 8, 9, $1 million, you've probably got 8 to 12 people, depending on the business model. So you've got these 12 other individuals that you're managing, scheduling, booking in, clients. You're probably doing 8 to 12 quotes per week, scheduling, booking in, managing, being interested, being of service. And then someone's got to come on the back end and go, holy crap, payroll, hours, reconciliation, sending invoices, collecting invoices, doing all the admin. You cannot do all of those things in your business if you're going to get anywhere near $1 million per year, let alone $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year. So the number one myth that you can do it all in your business, you can't. Don't even try. Don't even bother. You will burn out. I burnt out 2 times. I didn't have to do it 3 times to learn that lesson. So that's number one myth. Now, myth number 2, very aligned with myth number 1. You have to be the expert in every area of your business. Now, let me share with you a story. when I started my painting business, or when I started in the painting business, I was doing the quotes, the operational activities, and the admin activities. And I went and learned how to use this accounting software called MYOB, M-Y-O-B. So back in the day, in the old day, we got this disc, put it in the computer, and then I had to go and sit in a class with predominantly female bookkeepers as a painter and learn how to use MYOB. Because I thought I had to be the expert at that area of my business. Please don't do that. Although I learned a lot about that side of the business, I realized early on I suck at it. So whatever I was doing there, I could get someone else to do it not only more accurately, but they would do it in a quarter of the time. So there's one concept I learned a few years ago. The concept is about who, not how. So predominantly, if you have a problem in your business, I'm going to share this with you right now. You have a problem in your business, and it could be outside your skill set. How do I do Facebook ads? Let's say that. Or how do I do bank reconciliation? Something that's completely outside your skill set, okay? And you don't have the tools to do that thing. And then what happens is we go down a rabbit hole. Actually, I'll use a better example. I'll use a real life example today. 18 months ago, we recognize, and probably you have too, how we've moved through the automation stage and now we're in the AI stage of business. And I wanted to know, in our businesses, in all of our businesses, how can we use, how, being the important part of this question, can we use AI to improve our business, our systems, processes, or automation? Whatever that happens to be, how. That word how, you know what it did to me? It created a rabbit hole of how. And I don't know if you've gone down this rabbit hole with AI, but it's so cool. It's so awesome. You can keep looking and digging and looking and digging, and you can't find the end. And that'll be the same for you. You may have a different how. How do I build a website? It's a rabbit hole. You don't need to be an expert at building a website. I don't need to be an expert at AI. And I went down this rabbit hole for at least 2 months until I realized, as fun as it was, I was getting nowhere. The better question is going, okay, I have this problem. I would like to learn about AI, or I would like to learn or get my website built. So the distinction I'm trying to share with you right now is move away from how, move to outcome. What is it that you want from this problem-solving activity? So if it's a website, move away that you need to build it. You want the outcome of the website being up, live, bringing in leads to your business. That is the outcome. Go look for someone, a who, that can build your website that gives you the outcome. It serves 2 purposes. One, you're out of the rabbit hole. You don't get into the mystical world of building a website, SEO, understanding where your call to action needs to be and why you have a lead form and lead magnet and yada, 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 yada. You don't need to go down that rabbit hole. You go to someone who's an expert in their field and building websites for painting business owners, and you say, hey, I would like to build a website. This is what I want. Give them the outcome that you want and get out of the how part and give it to a who. You will save so much more time in doing that. Now, I think you're probably asking right now, but Tas, if I do it myself, I'm going to save money. Guess what? You're not, because you're going to dick around for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Really, you're going to dick around all year trying to work this thing out, which you're going to waste, let's say 5 hours per week. Let's say it's only for 3 months, 5 hours per week for 12 weeks, 60 hours doing nothing other than learning how to build a website. Now, if you go on the tools and you charge yourself at $100 an hour at 60 hours, that's $6K. You would have got someone to build the website and got the outcome. So myth number 2, you do not have to be the expert at every area of your business. How do you fix that? Whenever you have a problem, it comes up, how do I fix it? Focus on the outcome that you want, find someone, your who, that'll do the thing, and let them do their job. They're going to do it better, faster, cheaper, and more accurate than you're ever going to do it. Myth number 3. This is my favorite, and this is the one that pops up a lot. You need to be a better painter to to build a multi-seven-figure painting business. Guess what? That is not true. I'll tell you an interesting story. We were in Colorado earlier this year at a paint conference. There was 1,000, so it was 1,100 painting business owners at this paint conference. That's a lot. So I talked to a lot of painting business owners in the US, and the majority of the conversation I'm having with painters over there, well, painting business owners over there, sorry, I'll be very clear, with painting business owners over there, was they focused on being a better business person. In fact, there was a significant majority of people I met that weren't actually painters that ran painting businesses with 10 to 20 people. So their perspective is they came into building a multi-seven-figure painting business on the back end of being a better business person, not on being a better painter. And that really opened my eyes. It really opened my eyes into, we live in this bubble here in Australia. And I've grown up here my whole life, and I built businesses here in Australia. And once upon a time, I focused on being a better painter. I want to ask you this question. Are you focusing on being a better painter? I'm not saying that you shouldn't have good painters. I'm saying if you want to build a multi-seven-figure painting business that runs without you, that doesn't burn you out, and you don't burn the candle at both ends, focusing on one core component only is going to be like having an anchor and trying to move forward. You can't do it. So focusing on being a painter is good up to a point. Once you build a team, you cannot move forward. Now, you want to hire and recruit and retain good painters, because if you do shit work, no one's going to want to use you. But focusing your efforts on becoming the better painter is the thing that's going to hold you back. And I understand. We put so much time and effort. We did an apprenticeship. We did our time. We've got 10, 15 years of experience. We've done training. We've done all this education and training. We spent time, money, and effort into becoming a better painter. So what happens is we attach our identity to that. But I want you to separate being a better painter to running a painting business. They're completely different sports. You need one to have the other, but you don't need to be a better painter. So that myth about being a better painter, you need to buy out of that one and buy into, I need to be a better business owner. Just quickly, guys, if you're a painting business owner and you're overworked, overwhelmed, and underpaid, we can help. Hit the link below in the show notes to learn more. Now back to the episode. Myth number 4. I've had this one. You've probably thought about this one. It's something that comes up a lot when I'm talking to painting business owners, is more is better. Have you ever said that to yourself? I want more. I hear it a lot. I just want more. I want more sales. I want more work. I want more people in my team. And we mistake more for better. Here's why I'm sharing this myth with you. Better is better. More isn't necessarily better. Having more of the work that you don't like doing is not better. Having more of the people you don't like working with is not better. So I want to make sure we debunk this myth that more is better, because more isn't necessarily better. So stop building a complex business. So what happens is when we go after more, as in I want more sales, I want more people, I want more work, what happens is we get more busy. We're not taking into consideration the consequences of more. Because if you're already underpricing, or if you already have a high conversion rate of the types of jobs you don't like doing, your business is going to be very complex, because you're going to be putting out all these different situations and scenarios. So the myth that I want more clients. Why? Because I want more sales. Why? Because I want to make more money. Okay, let's spin back to that one. Theoretically, when I'm working with business owners, we don't necessarily just focus on more, we focus on better. So they have a current client list. We work on how can we better improve their pricing? How can we get better at converting more of the jobs they like working for or working with? Because you don't need more of the thing you don't like doing. You just need to get better at the things you should be better at doing. If you get better, you will get more. If you get more, doesn't mean you get better. So the myth that more is better is a terrible framework to operate by, because you're just going to get busy. And trust me, being busy is not the goal. Being busy is the quickest way to get stuck in your business and stay sub 7 figures, because the faster you're running, the busier you are, the less time you have to think and be strategic at building a profitable business. Myth number 5, you can't say no. You feel like you've got to say yes to everyone. And what happens is when you're saying yes, you get so busy you can't keep up with what's going on. This is what happens when you say yes. And this is probably why you're saying yes. Because if you have a fear that if you stop saying yes, you're going to lose work, that is complete opposite of what's going to happen. In business, you need time to assess and reassess, are these jobs, are these clients the right fit for you? What happens is, and I don't know if this happens to you, have you ever felt when you're in business and you're keeping busy, sometimes it feels like you're on a hamster wheel? You know, that little toy where you're running and running in business and you keep saying yes, and someone throws something onto your plate, and now the hamster wheel gets bigger and you have to run faster to keep up, and year by year goes by, and what seems to happen is you keep running faster and you keep getting more efficient, but this hamster wheel just keeps spinning more and more and more. That's because you keep saying yes. Guess what? No is a complete answer. If someone is not the right fit for you, you can say no. You don't have to justify, oh, we can't do this because, we can't just, you can say no. No is a complete answer. Here's an example. And this is where it usually comes into play. Have you ever heard, said, or thought that the customer is always right? Guess what? They're not always right. And if we come to a conversation with that frame, as in, if we're always going to assume the customer is right, that means we're always going to say yes. If we're always going to say yes, all we're doing is spinning on the hamster wheel and running faster and faster. So the more yeses you say, the faster it gets. So let's not buy into the myth that you can't say no. Let's not buy into the myth that you always have to say yes. No is a complete answer. Myth number 6. Number 6 is my favorite number, by the way. I don't know why I shared it. Just thought I'd share that piece of useful information. That you need the next bright, shiny object. You need the next new thing. I need the TikTok ad. I need the new funnel. I need the new bright, shiny object to hit my 7-figure painting business. No. Guess what? The next new thing is just a distraction. What happens is, as business owners, we focus on, if I could picture, if I could draw in the air a pyramid, right? So it's a triangle, and we've got 3 sections. We've got the top, the middle, and the bottom. Most business owners, most painting business owners, they focus on the strategies and tactics, which is the top of the pyramid, which is the bit that everyone sees. However, that's the noise. There's no substance up there. Now, I'm not saying you don't need marketing strategies. What I'm saying is stop chasing the next bright, shiny object. If you're changing every 3 to 6 months, your marketing or your sales or your team or your performance, you keep moving the goalposts, because what happens is you're looking for more. You get trapped in that cycle of more, rather than focusing on getting better. So instead of looking for the bright, shiny object, instead of looking at the next new cool strategy, tactics that someone's selling you, come down a level in the triangle and work on what are the skill sets that I want to improve. So what skill sets do I have? Can I improve on? I'm just going to pick sales. Focus on being better at sales. Nail that. You'll get to 7 figures. If you focus on changing the strategies and tactics every 3 to 6 months, you're going to get stuck in this loop. Okay? So focus on your skill set, get better at something, and you'll get more. Okay? Stay cool. Myth number 7. This is probably my favorite, and this one probably needs a whole episode in itself. The biggest myth is you need to scale. You got to scale, bro. Scaling's where it's at. Scale your business. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're sub 5 million, it's bullshit. Scaling is a myth that's going to drive you crazy. If I'm upsetting you right now and you've scaled your painting business $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million, please hit me up. I want to have a chat because I want to learn from you. How do you do that thing? Because scaling can only happen once you've built your systems, built your processes, have a clear and concise process and system of building and running your painting business without you. If you're trying to scale your business and you're in any function of that business, so what I'm saying is if you're in any sort of administration activity, so if you're reading an email or answering the phone, you're an admin. If you're doing any scheduling, any operational activity, engaging in a job site, a color, anything like that, you're stuck in that activity. If you're in sales and in marketing, you're stuck in that activity. You can't scale the thing that you're stuck in. So I'm very passionate about this, and I'm probably getting a bit hot right now, but the biggest myth that gets perpetuated to painting business owners is that, bro, you gotta scale. It's the biggest bullshit ever. Focus on being better. Focus on getting rid of distractions. Focus on raising your standard, upholding your standard, and you will get more and you get better by default. Forget scaling, just get better. Thanks, guys. This has been a pretty fun episode. I may have rocked some people, I may have agreed with some people, but I probably have helped you understand what are the biggest myths that are probably holding you back from growing a multi-seven-figure painting business. If you've got any other ones, I'd love to hear from you. If you disagree with me, I'd even love to hear more, particularly if you have any points around scaling. I would love to hear how you did that in the real world. So thanks. Hope to see you in the next one. Stay cool, be well, and check you out soon. Hey guys, if you got value from today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss expert tips. If you want some support, check out the link in the show notes and see how we can help you. Don't forget to follow us on socials @PainterCoach. Stay cool, be well, and as usual, see you in the interwebs. Bye.